before the release of Death Cab for Cutie's most recent LP, Codes and Keys, fans were expecting from the indie kings themselves something that was going to ignite the flame under the amazing lyrics and songwriting that is the band Death Cab for Cutie. But did they live up to the reputation? I'll let you know in a second. Hey guys, I'm Jess of WreckedRadio. Today I'm going to talk about Codes and Keys by Death Cab for Cutie. This will be kind of a brief one. I'm going to go over my 4 favorite songs, my favorite lyrics, etc. And I want you guys to weigh in at the end on what you thought of this album and my review. Generally, Codes and Keys was a lot more upbeat and a lot simpler than I was expecting coming from a Death Cab's fan's perspective. First song I want to talk about is the first track on the album, Home is a Fire. I was really drawn to this one because of its really intriguing title, and what I always expected from any Death Cab release was an incredibly inquisitive, very deep, meaningful song from songwriter Ben Gibbard, one of my favorite songwriters ever, and Home is a Fire kind of opened us up to what the city was going to sound like and if it was going to live up. This was a slow and suspenseful opener to an album that focused more on wordplay and rhyming, a more poetic structure, as opposed to a really deeply metaphoric or narrative album as a couple of the previous albums have been. The next song I want to talk about is You Are a Tourist, the biggest single that came off Codes and Keys. This being a single kind of reflected the mood of maybe a sounds of settling, if you want to compare it to anything else, but it's infectious all the same, and it's one of my favorites. When I went to go look up the lyrics, I found the video, and it kind of reminded me of a cutesier version of Brandon Flowers, only the young. The next song I want to talk about is Some Boys. This song immediately jumped out at me while I listened to the whole album. This one stuck out the most. It's very unique and recognizable because of its breathy vocals and bass-driven riff throughout, which kind of always caught my attention. But eventually it picks up in the song and turns out to be a very staple Death Cab for Cutie kind of song. The next song I want to talk about is one of the last on the album, called St. Peter's Cathedral. By looking at it, it's a very short set of lyrics, but it's an incredibly moving and very interesting song about what comes after life. And I actually think it should have been the last song on the album because it puts a definite period at the end of the whole track list. But instead, Death Cab decided to put a very upbeat song, Stay Young, but dancing at the end. I didn't appreciate St. Peter's Cathedral as much until I sat down with the lyrics, and it happened to now be one of my favorites. My favorite lyric, though, is actually from You Are a Tourist, and it goes, and if you feel just like a tourist in the city you were born, then it's time to go. I believe this album was a very solid album to add to your collection if you are a Death Cab fan, and I give it 3.5 stars. Now, of course, I want to know what your favorite songs were, especially if I didn't mention them. I want to know which ones you think I should have talked about, what your favorite lyric is, and what you thought of the album overall. How many stars do you give it? Okay, I will talk to you guys later in a new WreckedRadio news or in a new review. Peace, love, rock and roll.